short code texting that allows you to text to 5-digit numbers as opposed to a full phone number. So need everybody to text text join C group to 40650. Okay. Session 1, we did 2 sessions. We're just going to go through session 1 today. That's on vision. The first question we asked, or first thing we talked about, was just basic forestry 101. The redwood seed is one of the smallest seeds on the planet, 3 millimeters long, weighs 0.7 of an ounce, yet it creates the redwood tree, one of the largest species of trees on a planet. It is 350 feet high, 22 feet in diameter. It can weigh up to 1.6 million pounds. And so one of the first kind of big group discussions that we had was basically, what does it take for this seed to become this tree? Just thinking about that literally. And at the end of the discussion, we came up with basically you need these 4 things: organic access, organized and intentional processes, food provision, and consistent breakthrough. Consistent breakthrough is kind of the wild card, but if you think about it, that seed has to be able to sprout up through the soil to find air, and the roots need to be able to dig down through the soil to find water. So it needs those 4 things. We'll talk a little bit about these things more as we go on. The other thing that's kind of cool is that the metaphor or the image that we like to use to describe families also happens to be a tree. And a family, just like a redwood tree, needs these 4 things: organic access, organized and intentional processes, food and provision, and consistent breakthrough. Just thinking about this from a cultural standpoint, what is a family? And we asked, and we looked at this in kind of 2 contexts. The first one is just in the Gospels. You think about the family through the lens of what Jesus was doing with his disciples. You've got this disciple and rabbi type relationship, learners and teachers, and then Jesus' command, his commission to these disciples was, as you go, make disciples who can make disciples who can make disciples. And so family was very much in this context of, training and teaching through this relational type deal. So the thing that's interesting is that as you flip the page from the Gospels into Acts, the birth of the church, the word disciple kind of starts to fade, and this Greek word oikos, which literally translates to household family, starts to appear. Now, a household family in this culture would have looked more like an extended family in our culture, where you have brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents, parents, friends, and all this kind of stuff. So it would look a lot like an extended family in our culture. And again, you see this take place in Acts, where it says, they met together in homes. They would go to temple. They would listen to the apostles teach. They would then take that truth back to their houses. They would eat together, and they would figure out how to apply this truth, the truth of Christ, to their lives. And so disciple making really started to work through the lens of family in that context. And one of my favorite authors, a guy named Mike Breen, has this quote. It says, according to the example of Jesus and the leaders of the early church, the best vehicle for sustainable disciple-making and missional movement is family. And we'll look at how that really works here in just a second. But if you think about a family for a second, in the context of that tree, we need these 4 things. We need that organic access. Doors to a family, they open up through relationships. And it's not like you have to sign on a dotted line or sign a contract to join a family, but they open through relationships, and that's where we get that sense of belonging. We need organized and intentional processes. I know in my family, we're very strategic in how we take care of household chores, who pays the bills, that kind of stuff. We're very strategic and intentional in how we handle conflict and things like that. Food and provision, spiritual, emotional, and physical, that again, kind of self-explanatory. And consistent breakthrough. A family, we're never stagnant. We never just sit. We're pursuing a common purpose. We're going places, and that's a healthy family. That's needed for healthy growth. And again, just kind of looking at this in this context of what we see happen in Scripture, Jesus, he chose to do life with 12 guys, which is about the size of an extended family, a smaller extended family. He was God with skin on. He could have easily done this with 12,000 or 120,000, or 12 million, but instead he chose to do it with 12 guys, chose to do life with 12 guys. Again, setting that example that family is going to be the vehicle. The apostles, as they began the church movement, it started with a group of people in an upper room. Again, you've got a large extended family going on there. And then Paul's journeys, his missionary journeys to help plant these churches. these family-sized group of people were the people that he would typically partner with in the towns and the places that he would go. So again, you just see this family as this vehicle that really makes disciple-making and missional movement happen. And it's really cool to think that in Acts, when the church is being born, it represents 0.0000087% of the Roman Empire, which is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent. And over the course of 300 years, 3 centuries of sustainable growth, it went from being a fraction of a percent to almost 60% of the Roman Empire, to the point where Constantine had to declare Christianity as the official faith of Rome. And so you see that sustainable growth happen, and the church has not ever seen 300 straight years of sustainable growth like that again, and it happened through this thing called family. So it's a pretty cool picture. The next thing, that as we talk about, what a family is, just kind of some describers of a family is small enough to care and large enough to dare. We talk about with our C group families a lot that we want our students to both know and be known in their C group. You have to be small to do that, small enough to care, but large enough to dare. When we mobilize and we put our mind to something, there's a tangible before and after. You can see the way it was before we got there, and then you can see the way it was as we're leaving. And again, these bullet points just support that. Everybody gets a chance to play and chase a common purpose together. It's not so big that you have people that can find their way to the outside and don't feel like they're included. We are, as people, hardwired. We're pack animals. We're hardwired to connect and commit to family. We really long to belong. Family is the perfect combination of organic and organized. And then family is a natural training ground to release future leaders. You think about with your own kids, if you have kids, you're teaching them and preparing them to be able to live on their own, whether it's to go off to college, to find a job, to find a spouse, that they can stand on our shoulders and do greater things than even we were able to do. And so a family it's kind of a natural place where disciple making happens. You make disciples who can make disciples who can make disciples, to train, release, and go. So the next thing I want to show you, this is a quick video, an ad campaign done by Walmart and Coca-Cola, and this is kind of probably what an oikos would have looked like 2,000 years ago, just more of a modern take on that. So take a look at this.
The holidays are here again, so I'm inviting all my friends, the people who are close to me. They're my extended family. You've got my mom, my sis, my brother, my surprisingly cool stepmother, and the 2 kids that she had before she ever met my dad. Next, you've got my aunts and cousins. They showed up with several dozen friends of theirs. It's fine with me, I've got enough for all. Here in the hall, you've got my office mates, my best friend, and his online date. They've all come here to celebrate. This is my family. My judo coach, my allergist, my MySpace friends and Twitter list, and the first girl that I ever kissed. You're beautiful. I love you. Cause there's one truth I have found, and it's never let me down. When you stock up all joy, there's enough to go round. Singing joy, enough to go round, enough to go round and around and around and around. Singing joy.
So this is a pretty cool picture. Again, it's just kind of a modern day lens of what oikos probably would have looked like way back when. And you've got in this context, you've got MySpace friends, Facebook friends, Twitter list, the people that I go to school with, the people that I work with. At the end of the day, the bottom line is that it's blood and non-blood coming together under the same roof to say, hey, listen, we're a family. Let's do this thing together. And one of the things that was noticed in our trainings was that he mentioned that it's his stepmom. And so this is the reality of a lot of the students' lives is they're coming from homes where there's only a single parent, and so they're looking to kind of complete that circle inside the context of these C group families. So again, this is just kind of a cool picture, a cultural picture of what oikos might look like today. The next thing I want us to look at is this is called a cultural grid. In these 4 quadrants exists a culture, and when these 4 things are present, high play, low purpose, low play, high purpose. Play is fun, purpose is kind of our mission vision. This is what we're chasing after. And again, what we worked on was just filling these things in. So what exists in these places where these things are present? Low purpose, low play, you're bored to death. There's no purpose, there's no vision, and there's also no fun. High play, low purpose, That's kindergarten. There's lots of fun, but you get very little accomplished. If you ever talk to a kindergartner, they probably aren't going to say what they learned at school, but they're going to talk about the games they played, and it's defined by friendship. Again, talk to a kindergarten age student. They're going to talk to you about the people that they look forward to hanging out with and playing with at school, and things like that. High purpose, low play. That's work. Little fun, high turnover. You get a lot done, and it's defined by purpose-driven partnership. Again, the great image of this is like a contractor and his subcontractors when building a house. This is a partnership, that they sign on the dotted line, and that partnership exists while the work needs to be done. But when the work is over, that they kind of go their separate ways. And you get a lot done, but there's high turnover and things like that. But in this place where high play and high purpose exist, that's family. Lots of fun, massive community breakthrough. It's defined by shared vision, purpose, and experiences, and it's a combination of friendship and partnership. I love you. I want to be in your life. I want our lives to be connected, but yet at the same time, we are on mission together. So this is a great tool to be able to use, and I would encourage you to use that to figure out where on that grid does your C group fall, and what do you need to move the needle? What do you need to do to move the needle into that high play, high purpose type environment? So ultimately, kind of a culmination of all of this is that we come into the 6 essential elements of a family. A family needs these 6 things. First one is shared vision and purpose, and every C group should ask themselves, every C group family should ask themselves, what do we exist for, and how will this community, how will this family help bring a little bit of heaven to earth? You need shared resources, time, money, energy, and possessions. Extended family, we want diversity. We need diversity. It takes all kinds. Spiritual parents, you need reliable, relational, trustworthy, consistent leadership. Paul sets a great example when he says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. A great question for us to ask ourselves is, are we worth imitating? The 5th one is prayer, worship, and the Word. We need dependence and adoration when it comes to our Heavenly Father. And then the 6th thing is common meal. And that's a reason to gather around the table. And you see that time and time again in Scripture. Some of the greatest breakthrough happened around the dinner table. So those are the 6 essential elements of a family. And again, we want to put all this stuff together. C group families, one of the things we're doing this year is we're shifting the language away from just calling them a C group in the hopes that we begin to break down the walls that exist between Collide on Sunday mornings and things like that. We don't want a C group to be just another program we offer. We really want it to be a family. So we're shifting the language. C groups are now called C group families because language helps to define, solidify culture and expectations. We want the girls and guys in C groups to see each other as brothers and sisters. There's enough pressure on these students to objectify each other, and so in the context of a C group, we want them to see each other as brothers and sisters, not as things. Guys and girls shouldn't have to perform for each other in the C group setting. Girls shouldn't feel like they shouldn't have to grab the guy's attention by sitting on their laps, and guys should feel like they can still be themselves and be vulnerable around the ladies and stuff like that. So, family conflict. There are certain things that we want you to run up the flagpole to us, but ultimately, we want you to teach these students what healthy conflict looks like. Drama with the girls or conflict with the guys needs to be handled inside the family, and when you reach just a mountain that you can't seem to climb over, at that point, get us involved, and we can kind of help coach you on that. But we really want conflict to be handled inside the C group family. And ultimately, we want these three quotes to be the truth. That students see my C group as my church family, Collide is my weekly family reunion, and Bible and Beach, fall retreats, mission trips, things like that, those are family vacations. And again, you think about the expectations of a family in our culture. We have a family. Our families get together on a regular basis for holidays and things like that, and our families go on vacations. In Louisville, we go to Destin. That's what these 3 quotes basically are the same thing. I have a family, my family gets together on a regular basis, and my family travels together, we go places together. So that's kind of the big cultural shift in the world of C groups. And then at the end of the day, again, kind of putting it all together, C group families are a place where the 6 essential elements of a family can be found in a unique form. No 2 C groups are going to look the same, and they're driven and supported by a culture of high play and high purpose. And again, this goes right into the church's vision of being a praying church that reaches out and challenges people to follow Jesus completely. The 6 essential elements, C groups are the vehicle. The elements are the fuel that drives that vehicle, and the high play and high purpose. That's just a culture where it's going to grow and thrive. So hopefully this has been a beneficial training, and it's been a quick recap. If you have any questions, call, email, but hopefully this has helped catch you up. Thanks.